Okay, the next chapter we are going through is the VAT chapter. Vi skal se litt og snakke litt om det som heter moms, MVA eller merverdiavgift. Det kan godt hende jeg bruker disse begrepene om hverandre, men det er akkurat det samme. All these Norwegian words are merverdiavgift, moms or MVA, men I might use them and combine them, but it's all the same. And in English, you can just think about VAT. What we want you to learn here is to understand what VAT is. Also, we want you to get to know a little bit about what VAT does when we are calculating dishes. And we're going to show you the different types of VAT. And at last, we want to learn how to add and subtract the VAT from a dish. Vi skal forstå momsens funksjon i kalkyler, vite litt om momssats, og ikke minst lære å legge på og trekke fra moms, som er svært viktig når man skal jobbe med kalkyler. Yes. Og moms, det er jo da en avgift som vi krever inn, som ikke er vår. That means that the VAT is not our money. We are doing that on a mission for the government. So when you see a dish in the restaurant, or all the prices that are out to a consumer is always included VAT. Alle priser du ser i butikker, restauranter og så videre, alle ting du kjøper, det har moms inkludert i prisen ut til oss som forbrukere. Og dette er jo en av mange innkommende lønnsposter eller pengeposter som driver AS Norge. To make a great community in Norway, we have to, of course, get in something from all the things we sell and all the services we offer out in the businesses. Nå skal jeg prøve å forklare hva som skjer med moms, og hvordan man betaler moms som en bedrift. I'll try to explain how a business will pay a VAT. And that is the difference between what you sell and what you actually buy in. When you buy in gifts and goods and stuff to your company, that VAT part is actually, you get that back. So, and when you sell a good, that is the VAT you have to pay. You pay the difference between what you sell and what you have bought. Så utgående moms minus inngående moms er faktisk hva du skal betale i et momsoppgjør, som mange bedrifter gjør 6 ganger i året. 6 times a year, every business pays the VAT, which is the difference between what you have sold and what you have bought in the VAT, the part of the VAT. Det er 3 satser, eller egentlig 4, med moms. Den generelle satsen er 25%. Vi har en som er 15%, vi har en som er 12%, og vi har en som faktisk er 0. They are 4 kind of general tax levels or percentage levels for VAT, and the normal one is 25%. And you also have 15% and 12%, and some services are actually having 0% VAT, like, for example, this kind of lesson, which kind of is a class, and actually it's not VAT on those kind of services. But the general is 25%, and in this example, I will show you mostly 25%, but since the restaurants have a few other things, we'll also go through that. Hva slags momssatser finner vi i reiseliv? Jo, vi finner egentlig 3 satser i reiseliv. Vi finner den generelle satsen, som er 25%, som blant annet gjelder på restaurant. 15% gjelder på takeaway, og så har vi også andre ting i reiselivet, overnatting, transport, alle typer billetter og så videre. Det har 12%. The general VAT for restaurants are 25%. They accept is if you have a takeaway or takeout, it's actually just 15%. So it's actually really important when you're doing takeaway that you have a button in your system that actually you can put on the takeaway, so you don't pay that much tax for the takeaway services. Just have a little look here. I just put up a package of loads of different things that could be a VAT challenge. Have a look at this dinner and show I have put together here. For example, it could be a hotel that have done that. They have something to drink in the start, and they have a 3-course dinner. Then they have kind of a show thing, entertainment, and then they also have a hotel accommodation and breakfast. And let's say that costs 2,495 in total, and then you have to split it up into the different parts and find the price for every part. And of course, then all these parts have different VAT, right? And if you like to try it on, it will be very cool. If you don't know how to extract, subtract, or add the VAT yet, you can look further into the presentation and go back on this. But this is not a mandatory task. Her kan du prøve deg hvis du har lyst til å prøve å finne ut hva momsen blir fra pakken, men det er ikke en obligatorisk oppgave. Og du vil lære litt mer om hvordan du legger til og trekker fra moms senere. I've said this, but the MVA or the VAT in the restaurant, all food and drinks has 25%, except takeaway 15%. When you are going to add VAT on a product, you have to take the product's price and multiply it by 1.25. That's because it's 25%, and we have to do it this way to get it right. So when you're going to add MVA to a product, take the price and multiply by 1.25. If you're going to subtract VAT from a product, then you have to divide the number with 1.25. Så hvis du skal legge til moms på et produkt, ja, da skal du gange prisen på produktet med 1,25. Da får du den prisen du skal ha ut i butikken eller restauranten din. Hvis du skal trekke fra moms, hvis du skal finne ut hvor mye momsen ja, da skal du ta ut prisen i restauranten din og dele på 1,25. Bruker nå spesifikt 1,25, for vi tenker at vi nå jobber med ting som skjer inne i restauranten, og ikke nødvendigvis takeaway. Your task, now you got the recipe to what you have to do, and I want you to take a look at this. Think that you have a new dish in your restaurant, and you have already calculated how much it costs in the goods and what kind of profit you're going to have. And you found out that that is 166 Norwegian kroner. What you have to do last is actually add the VAT. So I'm wondering, what will be the price for this dish on the menu? Ja, her har du fått oppgaven. Du skal legge til moms. Du har funnet ut at prisen på vara, den 166. Det varekosten din, og fortjenesten din har du også lagt på der. Så nå trenger du å bare legge på moms her, og da lurer jeg jo selvfølgelig på, hva får du? Du bruker den tida du trenger på oppgaven, og svarer veldig gjerne og sender den veldig gjerne inn. And last one in the VAT is how to actually subtract the VAT. So imagine you sold a steak for 359 kroner, and I want you to find out how much of this money is yours and how much is the VAT. Du har solgt en biffrett i restauranten din for 359 kroner. Finn ut av da hvor mye egentlig som dine penger, og hvor mye som moms her. Fikk du det til? Let me know. Did you succeed? Let me know. And that actually is the VAT chapter. We are moving on to the next chapter in economy, and this topic is calculation and gross profits. Trying to explain this as good as we can in a combination of English and Norwegian. And why do we want to have a look at this? Kalkyle og bruttofortjeneste skal dette handle om, og vi skal gjøre det så enkelt som overhodet mulig. Vise noen helt konkrete prinsipper, slik at du får en større forståelse av dette. Dersom du synes noe går for fort i dette opptaket, så bruk litt tid til å faktisk stoppe videoen og forstå det. Og du kan også veldig gjerne spole. If something goes too quick in this kind of recording, I would actually recommend you to stop the video when you need it and do kind of the calculations or maybe you can repeat something. What do we want you to learn in this chapter? We want you to understand how you actually make an easy calculation for things in restaurants and understand how your managers and the leaders work when they are actually calculating the prices and why things cost, what they do in the restaurant, and understand also where and how do you find the gross profit. Hvordan finner man bruttofortjeneste? Forstå hvordan priser i restaurant beregnes. Okay, for some of you this maybe sounds very not strange, but maybe you haven't ever heard of this, but I will try to explain it as easy as I can. The calculation is actually a tool to put up costs and income to actually give the right prices. Priskalkyler, det viktig å gjøre for å faktisk kunne beregne at vi skal få ut de riktige prisene. Og så ikke det hele bildet, for det at priskalkyler og prising av varer handler også selvfølgelig om konkurransesituasjon og hva andre aktører tar for samme type tjeneste. The calculation is a tool, but you also of course have to look into the market. What are the customers willing to pay for a product? And of course also what do the competitors take in for this kind of the same service or food. There are two types of calculations. We are just looking at the first one in this, which is bidragskalkyle. Mens vi skal kun jobbe med bidragskalkyle i dette lille kurset. Det handler om den enkleste beregningen av kalkulasjon, hvor vi bruker varekosten for å beregne prisen, og så skal fortjenesten vår dekke alle de andre øvrige kostnadene. Du husker kanskje allerede at vi har snakket om i inntekter og kostnader, hva slags type andre kostnader vi har enn kun varekjøp, og det mange. Do you remember the first chapter when we talked about income and expenses? In bidragskalkyle, there is only the cost of the good that we use to actually calculate the price, and then the profit, the rest, the profit that we add, should also cover all the other costs. So, if you remember back, you already put up a lot of other costs when we talked about the costs. So we're only doing the bidragskalkyle for this. So only the direct costs, we call that direct costs, varekostnader, kalles for direkte kostnader, for det følger jo da produktet. Så det kun de vi bruker her. I will show you now an example of a barbecue buffet and show how we need to calculate that when we are setting the prices. So then you have to kind of find out how much food do I need per person to calculate a buffet. Hvor mye mat må regne per porsjon på en buffet? And then I actually put up a very simple kind of Excel sheet here. Her kommer et lite regneark. Der jeg satt opp til venstre, i venstre kolonna, alle ingredienser. All the ingredients to the left. Then the price per kilo. Of course, we need that for a calculation. And then så har jeg satt opp i kolonne 3, mengde per kuvert. Hvor mange gram av hver ingrediens trenger jeg til å kunne beregne prisene her. Then we put up, of course, how many grams we need per kilo, and then we got a price per person or per guest or per kuvert. And you see here, you have salad, you have entrecôte, you have corn, you have béarnaise sauce, spare ribs, and chicken, and the prices are to the right. So this means only the cost of this cost 255. Altså bare kostnaden på denne buffeten er 255 kroner. So if we sell it for 255, we will lose money because we have to add the profit, our profit, and we also have to add the VAT. Okay, so let's have a look further. I would say then you build it up with the cost of the good. Her har vi da funnet ut at råvareprisen er 255, så må vi legge på vår fortjeneste. Det kan vi enten gjøre i et kronebeløp, et prosentbeløp, eller det som heter en faktor, som handler om at vi skal gange råvarekosten vår med en faktor, for eksempel 2,5. You first have to take the costs, which is 255, then you have to add the profit, which could be in a kroner, a more like a you should always add this amount of money, or it could be in percentage, or it could be a factor, which means actually you take the cost of the food and you multiply it, for example, with 2.5 or 3. Yeah. Når du har tatt råvareprisen og lagt på påslaget ditt, så har du funnet salgsprisen uten moms. Og det siste du må gjøre er å legge på moms før du presenterer prisen til kunde. When you have the costs and you have added the profit, then you have actually the sales price excluded VAT. But remember, since every dish in your restaurant has VAT, you have to add it. And I showed you an example of how to add the VAT in the previous video, so you might remember it still. Okay, let's see the gross profit. Hva handler bruttofortjeneste om? Og bruttofortjeneste kan vi regne oss tilbake til, og det er akkurat det samme som dette påslaget vårt, det fortjenesteleddet. The gross profit is just kind of the one we add to cover all other expenses, also including our profit, but also all our costs. So when we are building up prices, we have to do it this way. As I just showed, the cost of the good, always without VAT, for all kinds of the ingredients the dish consists of. And that also actually means sometimes emballage, or if you need bags or salted pepper or plastic cups or something, that should also be a part of the cost. Then you add a number that should be your gross profit. As I said, it could be in a percentage, it could be in et kronebeløp, or it could be a factor. And then you have the sales price without the VAT, and then of course you add the VAT, and then you round up the price to a nice or a price that seems good on the menu. Så råvarekost uten moms ligger på påslaget, som da er bruttofortjenesten din, som skal dekke alle andre utgifter pluss fortjenesten din. Da har du salgspris uten moms, legger på moms, og du har salgspris inkludert moms. And this is how you find your gross profit on the product. You can actually, if you know a few things, have a little information, you can actually find your gross profit. So this is actually calculating the other way back. So we start with the price in the restaurant, then you have to subtract the VAT, and then you have to take off the costs of the good. What's left then is the gross profit that should cover all the other costs, and of course also the profit. And if you remember, What other costs are you going to cover in a restaurant? Vi har jo allerede snakket om dette med kostnader i restaurant. Det finnes jo mer enn bare kost, og disse skal jo da dekkes i denne eller i denne bruttofortjenesten vår da, i den potten med bruttofortjeneste. Vi trenger ikke å dedikere summer til hver ting i denne kalkylen, men det er sånn du må tenke. Okay, are you ready to try? If you haven't seen the VAT video, you must see that, but it's previous year, so I guess you have. And I want you to try this. And it's not, try it for yourself. And if you made it, and if you succeed, let me know. This task, den oppgaven her, handler om at jeg ønsker at du skal prøve å regne på bruttofortjeneste, bare for å se at du har skjønt det. Tenk at restauranten din har en 2-retters meny som koster 395 kroner. Du vet at varekosten er 102 kroner på denne. Finn denne bruttofortjenesten på denne retten i kroner. Try now see that you have a dish in your restaurant that costs 395. You already know that the cost of this is 102 Norwegian kroner. And I want you to try to find the gross profit in this. And if you're not familiar with calculations yet, try to write down what kind of steps you have to do to actually find the gross profit. Og klarte du det, da har du skjønt kalkyle. If you succeed this, you already know how to calculate and find the gross profit. So thank you very much. Ok, det siste lille snutten fra økonomi handler om rabatter. This is all about the discounts. When we are giving discounts in the restaurant, and maybe we have campaigns, and how that influence our gross profit. You just learned about gross profit. Now we're going to show you how discounts actually ruin our gross profits. Nå skal vi vise hvordan bruttofortjenesten blir påvirket av rabatt. So we're going to talk a little bit about discounts and campaigns. What is a kind of a good campaign and that actually is good for our business? And we're going also to increase the understanding about what discounts makes on our gross profits. And if you see this recording, you're probably sitting on by yourself, but right, for you who see the recording, you can actually discuss with yourself, why is the reason that we have discounts and campaign in the restaurants? What should that actually help us to do? And when you wrote a few things here, you can move on. If you need more time now, you can stop the recording, please. Because I want to ask you a question, can we actually make wrong campaigns? Can it be too much discount? Kan vi rett og slett lage kampanjer som vil være ugunstige for oss og ikke bærekraftige? Can we actually make campaigns that's not non-sustainable for our economic business in the restaurant? Spesielt nå så synes jeg det er viktig å fokusere på dette, ettersom vi også har kampanjeuker i Kristiansand. Vi skal også ha spis ute-uka, og mange har også pakkedeals innimellom. Sometimes you put up a package of like 2 dishes, or you also are part of like campaign like spis ute-uka, or you have a special lunch deal on. It's actually very important that you have done kind of that you have been thinking through the discounts and the campaigns before you put them out and actually been calculating, so you're not actually making an offer that's not sustainable. So have a look at this. We're going to say that we are making a Super Monday. We're putting on all the pizzas at a 50% discount. What in our normal life or in a normal day, a pizza costs in the restaurant 249, and we know that the costs of the pizza making it is 37 Norwegian kroner. The first thing I want to ask you is, Can you now also find the gross profit for this? And can you also try to find the gross profit when you have a Super Monday with 50% off? Ok, vi har en supermandag. Da skal vi kjøre halv pris på alle pizzaer. Normalt sett så selger vi pizzaen for 249 kroner i restauranten vår, og vi har en varekostnad på per pizza når vi produserer den på 37. Prøv nå å finne ut hva du har i bruttofortjeneste på en fullprisdag med pizza, og prøv å se hva som skjer med bruttofortjenesten når du har supermandag. You might need to stop this recording and do your calculations now. It's just kind of the same example as in the previous video. Dette jo noe av de samme eksemplene som i forrige video, slik at dersom du henger med, så har du muligheten til å klare dette. Let's take a look at how this will happen. La oss aller først se på pizzaen vår på full pris. This is our pizza on a normal day with $2.49, and you already know now that when you are actually calculating the gross profit, you have to take off the VAT. Når du skal regne fortjeneste, skal du alltid ta bort moms, og det litt fort å glemme. It's actually easy to forget that you have to take off the VAT first, because you know the discounted price should be out to your guests or the customer, and the price out to the guest or the customer is always included VAT. Alle priser ut til gjesten vår, de alltid inkludert moms. So what you have to do here, you have to subtract 249. You have to take off 25% of that, which is the same formula, 249 divided with 1.25. Then you got 199.20, and then you have to add, you have to take off the costs of the pizza, which we found out was 37. So the gross profit in a full price day will be 162 kroner and 20 cents. 162,20 altså bruttofortjenesten vår per pizza på fullpris. Og husk at bruttofortjenesten både skal dekke alle andre kostnader og ha en fortjeneste. Når vi sier bruttofortjeneste, ikke sant, så handler det om at vi må også trekke fra andre kostnader. Dette ikke hva du tjener. Så egentlig til slutt, kanskje du tjener 10%, ikke sant? Hvis du husker den lille videoen, hvor man egentlig legger en 10% som går rett i lomma. Okay, let's have a look at this one, which is absolutely crazy, because when you do a Super Monday, you have to make the gross profit this, because then the first thing you have to do is actually take off the price to the guests. Så du må starte med å ta 50% rabatt på 249 kroner, altså halv pris. So the new price out to the guests will be 124.50. And then you have to distract the VAT from that price, which means 124.50 divided by 1.25, 99 kroner og 60 øre. And then you have to take off the cost of product, which is still 37 kroner, because the same costs if you produce something with a discount. So the gross profit with a discount of 50% is down to 62.60. That's almost 100 kroner less than in a full price. Ser du det at bruttofortjenesten, det skjer mer med bruttofortjenesten enn 50%, fordi du må trekke også fra momsen etterpå du har rabattert. So this is kind of the trick, because when you think you have a 50% discount, you still have 50% in profit, but you don't in gross profit, because you also have to distract the VAT. So what we actually have to do here, I put up the full price VAT gross profit, and if I divide that to the new gross profit, I got a number that's at 2.59, which actually means instead of selling one pizza, I have to sell 2.59 pizzas to actually earn the same. So if you are doing discounts, you need much more sales and much more customers in to actually make it as profitable as a full price thing. So imagine that we normally sell 50 pizzas. So if this actually should have the same gross profit as the full price, we have to sell 80 pizzas more, total of 130 pizzas instead of 50 pizzas, because we have to take 50 pizzas and multiply by 2.59. So actually we need to sell to 80 extra guests when we are having a discount to actually make it as profitable as a full price. Wow. All right. That is more a lesson learned thing. Jeg har lyst til at du avslutningsvis i denne økonomisesjonen er nå over. Jeg har lyst til å spørre deg om du kan sende meg et notat som handler om følgende. Hva lærte du av økonomiseansen som du ikke visste fra før av? Og er det noe av dette som du faktisk ser for deg at kan øke din forståelse i restaurant? I want you to ask you a final question, and I want you to send this in to me when you see this recording. Based on what you just learned in the whole economy program, what did you get out of this topic that you didn't know before? And is there something in this program, number 3, that you think you actually can help you in your daily work in the restaurant? I'm really curious to hear from you. Thank you so much for attending this recording, and I hope that it will help you a little bit understanding the numbers in your restaurant. Thank you so much.